Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the wild landscape of Scotland. And for today's adventure, we're on the hill behind Ferry Den in Montrose, and we're actually about to go and document another one of these abandoned Angus castle locations. This was another old Scottish castle which is almost gone and forgotten from the land. And shout out Solo Bro, another local YouTuber that covered this recently on one of his videos. And yeah, it's interesting to keep this history alive and go and visit these sites and yeah, see what's left of the history. This was actually Rossie Castle, it was called, and it was built, the construction was basically started in 1800, and the family moved in to what was a derelict property at the time. There was an older house there before, and then they basically turned it into Rossie Castle, and they lived in it from 1800, but the construction wasn't finished until 1805. But sadly, in 1957, this castle was actually demolished and blown up from the land, I think. Sometimes they had to be blown up because they were so well constructed, you couldn't just demolish them too easily. But on today's adventure, we're joined by Highlander 87 out here, and we're heading down to see the remains of this incredible castle. So let's get into action, folks. So check it out, folks, we've come out of that little path we were on and we're still heading straight down this road. And now we've just seen there's probably like thousands of geese flying around there. And you should see the noise they're making. Like, you should hear the noise they're making, absolutely. It's just crazy. Swarms of them, there must be thousands. And there is a lot of geese at this time of year in Scotland. It's like they were sitting in the field and someone flagged them. So check it out, folks, this unsuspecting road here in the countryside is actually the wee road that leads in to Rossie Castle. And I can't even believe the amount of geese in this field here. There's just thousands. They're all the way to the faraway hedgerow. And yeah, a minute ago when they all took off, it was like biblical. You could hardly see the sky. Oh look, they might be away to take off now because they've gotten startled. I'll put the camera back on if they start fleeing about over our heads. So we can see this area here, folks, with the trees and the kind of circle, and this is where the area, the foundation of the big house was. This piece of land is actually up for sale, and that's how I thought I should come and document it before it is sold and before the history is even more gone and unexplorable. And because I have been recording such castles as like Bonnyton Castle and stuff recently, I thought this is another piece of the Angus castle puzzle. Whoa, every now and again some of these geese just take off and the noise from them is just mad. It's wildlife as well as abandoned history in these wild lands, folks. You know how it is on this channel. And yeah, this is just incredible. It's such a shame, such a grand structure that so much money had been invested into at a certain time was just demolished. It's sad when history like that gets deleted. Wow. I will include a picture of the original house here if I can get my hands on it. We'll include a picture of what was actually standing here at a certain time. Wow, this is amazing to think, folks, like what was actually standing here at a certain time. Think of the hustle and bustle in a spot like this when the ancient building was on this site. Look, here's a cement piece. Look, it's like gravel here, but this cement may be an original foundation. Wow. Since 1957, obviously a lot of years has passed, so the history is pretty far gone and pretty hard to see. But with videos like this, it's cool just to come and have a look around, see if there's any scars or skeletons of that history left. I can see there is like a square here as well. It could be remains of the footprint of the former building. And just imagine how grand it was and massive standing in the land. Yeah, wow, this is incredible, folks. Let's head on. I don't know if this has been used as a bit of a yard potentially for maybe like a local farmer or the landowner. Look, here's some massive stones here. Yeah, look, this is big chunks here of cement or whatever, or bits of an old building. Wow, it's so interesting to see this and just think that's a chunk of the history here that we're trying to find on today's video. Look, it is sandstone and stuff built in there. Wow, see, a lot of the time they would have just bulldozed a site like this and levelled it. The remains of the building and that is the one thing they were trying to get rid of, so it's often hard trying to piece together the history. But you can see there's an old fence line down there, and it's like this is where they've bulldozed the edge of all the rubble and stuff. Probably this whole area is just full of little fragments of the existing building, or the original building. The reason I was thinking it may have been used for storage, I was seeing this like metal pipes and poles. Not unless there's been fencing around here. Yeah, it's like there's been something maybe fenced off at this spot. Wow, look at the size of these nettles, folks. It's the tail end of summer, and literally the nettles in Scotland are higher than head height. It's absolutely savage out here. But we're often trying to make the most of the conditions, see what we can see. Look, there is loads of stuff there. It's maybe been fly tipping. Yeah, these stones, they look like they are probably stones which remained on this site from the building, eh? It looks like somebody's hangout spot. Oh, look, this must be the blocks here which at one time that fence was on. Wow. Highlander 87, folks, he's out here. Yeah, that is a bit of the original construction right there. Yeah, wow. Check it out, folks, look at the shape of that. It's been like a wall. Maybe on some of the original photos we'll be able to see where a place or a little wall like that may have been located. And then look at that there, it's like red brick. But see this, it almost looked like there was a wee path. Oh look, there's a pond down the back of here. It looked like there was a wee path leading off down this corner. And I was just curious to see if there's any other nuggets of history down here. Wow, what a scene, folks. It's all stubble fields around here because it's just been harvested this time of year. It's the tail end of summer and it's coming into exploring season. Look at this, it's like ivy and stuff over all the trees. This area here, it is almost built up. Wow, look at this, folks. Check it out. You can actually see it here. This must be one of the few original pieces that's actually built here, separate to the land. It shows how the original foundation of the land here had been built up and levelled before the construction of the original house here. So this wall may actually date back later times than the 1800s castle that we're speaking about today, because there was an old derelict house on the site prior to that, and that shows it's 1700s or even older that this ground was landscaped originally. Yeah, it would be cool to maybe go and have a look down off that wall and see what's at the bottom. Here, there's a mad original wall right around this place. Why, the wall leads right around this whole bit. Yeah, this is so cool, folks. Look at the way that tree there is growing. Wow, the tree's growing in such a funny way. Here, I'm going to jump down here and have a look at this. I want to see the wall, because I'm just theorising this wall was probably put in when they originally levelled this site. Yeah, what a mad scene of history, folks. From this angle you can often get more of an idea of how the stonework looked. Sometimes they had walls like this around big castles and mansions, so when you looked out the castle window you didn't have to look at a big wall, but yet your livestock wouldn't come into your premises. And then down this side there's a total mad little pond. I'll try and peek through the trees. Yeah, this is a cool scene today, folks. Yeah, look down there, I can hardly walk through because it's so overgrown, but there's a total mad little loch. Look, there's a proper path here. Check it out, folks. I'll just go a wee bit further just to have a look at this and document it. I wonder if that was related to the house or to the castle. Wow, real history on the channel. That's what we always promise you. Little scenes like this, it's so incredible. I can see there's a tree falling down and it's ripped a bit of the wall, and that's how videos often just keep that history alive. if a tree does fall down and seriously damage these old structures or remains, and you can still see how it was. Anyway, let's head back up because I think there's some more construction up this far end. So check this out here, folks. There's a total tree house up here, a little platform, and that's been somebody's den. Shout out if you're watching this video and this is your hangout area. It's cool to have little places like this. When I grew up in the countryside, that's the kind of things you do. You make wee tree houses, you have little hangout areas, random places. But it's crazy, this area here has got so much history dating back to that ancient time, and then nowadays just that outer perimeter and the bare scars of the cement on the ground there. It's crazy to see, considering how grand this house originally was. It's mad that that's all that's left. Yeah, look, there's these big chunks. A lot of it looks like cement. Wow, that isn't cement, eh? That's a proper old, like, doorstep or whatever. And then everything, all these stones is likely to be part of the construction originally. But probably when the site was bulldozed. I'm not sure if somebody's put this in as a bit of a garden or a hangout area. The way this is built, they've maybe just used stones because it looks like it's been laid out like a garden. But considering 1957 till now, it's been quite a long time for the site to be redeveloped and changed. I'm not sure. It could be the original garden, but I'm not sure. Look at that, eh? There's a few bits of cement here. I'm not sure what all has been done though over the years here. There's so much years that's passed. Look how these roots though is over the top of the wall, and that shows that these walls are truly ancient, like outdating the tree. And considering how big these trees are, like, just imagine how this originally was when this wall was first put in. It's not the bonniest construction, it's quite roughly made, but in that era that probably wasn't the sort of wall that anybody would ever see, so it was just made like that to get the foundation level right across here for building their mad structure. So as far as castles go on the channel, folks, this is not one which is so ancient like some of the 1500s or 1600 ones that we document, but this one is still interesting because it was built on the site of a house dating back way into the 1700s and before it, most likely the 1600s. But then to consider the short life of this house, built in 1800, finished in 1805, but then destroyed in 1957. Such a grand structure just gone off the land and nearly forgotten. But yeah, it is cool just to think of that with these videos, tell the story of the history. I'm not sure if there's been a waterway or something coming in there related to that wee loch. Look at this, folks, something startled all these geese again, and literally probably like 2,000 birds are in the sky down here. The noise they're making is just unreal. They're actually flying out of this field and some of them's going around that way. Yeah, they just look like undescribable, eh? When you see something like that, nature, folks, the way the animals and stuff move around when they're in a flock like that, just thousands of them, all making such a noise, probably in communication. And then this site here, laying silent since 1957, since the demolition team moved out. Nowadays the plot for sale, and that was why it was kind of urgent. If we wanted to document this on the channel, it was best to come now before anything else gets built on the top of here, because even more of the history will be deleted and gone at that moment, and it'll be harder to come in video. But we've seen it here today, folks. Rossie Castle, Angus, Scotland. Check it out, folks, we're now back at the main road here, and these geese are another level of noisy. Check it out, folks, there's this little side path here on the road that we were on, and we saw a dog walker coming down this way, so we were just curious, is there any more abandoned historical wonders down this path? So it's just like a total random side mission here on this main adventure today. But I'm not even sure. There's like a driveway or whatever going down. It looks like some mad like castle gates and stuff. But it's the sort of path. Again, it looks well trodden here. It must be a popular like dog walking spot. Check it out, folks. This is a total random one. We're still on this little path and we can see there's like a walled garden. Yeah, look, there is. There's a castle over there, eh? Yeah. There's a mad castle over this wall, folks, but it probably doesn't come out on the camera. Wow. We can't even believe what we're seeing on the channel, folks. Wonder if we'd be able to see it from in here. It's obviously somebody's private residence and we're not in the way of going in. But I just thought, since we're walking past here, it's absolutely mad to see. This maybe like dates back to the same era as that other castle that we saw on the land back. Yeah, look, this is so well kept. Look at that. See, that looks like a 1500s castle, I would say, right there. Mad. Unexpected to see that here in the land. Look at this, folks. At this time of year you get loads of these wild berries and all these like hedgerows are just full of them. It's totally mad to see. And we're not sure where this path's going. We're just kind of heading down. It's all about the adventure on this channel. We never know where we're going to go. We never know what we're going to see. As you can see, folks, from this scene here, everything at this time of year is still that kind of overgrown way. There's no chance you could walk through there because it's all nettles and thistles, and most of those bushes, they'll harm you if you try and go through them. Oh, this path network's crazy. We're just weaving through the long grasses. Look, we can get a view over there, which must be Montrose Basin. The Montrose Basin down in the hollow. Yeah, look, we could follow this path down here, look. Let's do it, folks. We're doing a full circuit right around here. That's often the coolest thing on an adventure. Just seeing where you end up going. You can just often find the coolest history without trying to find it. Look at this. This must be some old remains of this castle. Look at the old gate with the ivy and stuff. Wow, look at that, folks. That could have been one of the main gates into that place. And look, there's been a wee door which has been bricked up at a certain time. And then check out the remains here of this. The old cast iron gate post. And like a lot of castles, they had the walls around, often like a walled garden at a certain time. So look at this, folks. This is really cool to see. The side of the garden which faces the Montrose Basin here, the wall is proper high, probably like good 25 foot or whatever. No, it's probably just 20 foot, I would say, but it's super high. And I'm not sure if that was to protect the castle from the cold coastal winds which rip in here off the sea. The wild North Sea is just a mile out that way past Montrose and Ferry Den, and this must be an old road up to the castle potentially from those areas. It's mad to add this on to today's video, folks. It's just like another castle and a wee bit of history, but the difference is this one's not abandoned. That's why we come here, obviously, with respect. So look, they've got wee doors and stuff. Wow, look at that wee wall. It must support the bigger wall. Oh look, this has been a wee building. Wow, check this out, folks. The coolest of little places on the channel. Look, there's been a wee window and stuff. Maybe like a groundsman's house or a wee gatekeeper's house here. Or a little maintenance hut. That's so cool. Probably built way back in the early days of this castle. So I think with a site like this, folks, I think it's a more modern house which has been built using part of the old castle or on the site of the old castle. But it is cool, there's still a current building there, and the outer wall looks super cool. Check it out, folks, it's been cool to walk around the perimeter of this place. It looks like this path continues round. For the adventure, we'll just keep on going. But yeah, it is cool that the original site where the main castle was is still a modern house. We do like to see that on the channel, where history is actually saved and not abandoned. Even though we document the abandoned stuff, the actual places that are still in original condition and saved are just amazing. And places like this has got a certain vibe. We didn't know we'd be walking around an ancient 1500s castle like garden wall when we came down that path. And it is interesting, folks. Check it out, folks, the whole way around is these old doors, but look, the ivy's draped over, and it's the character of the wildlife, how nature takes back over with these places. Even the whole wall, it's just alive with different plants, different sorts of things growing out. And then when you look a bit closer, you realise the spider webs and tons of life just all over the place in these lands. And then the fresh berries of the summer just about gone in the autumn weather. The frosty nights moving in, turning this lush green jungle-like conditions into more of a barren, bleak landscape for the winter. So check it out, folks, we've now just come around this side. This is the final wall here of the garden, and we're now coming around this way, and I think this will take us back out the main drive. Obviously to the castle owner and that will come with the greatest respect, so we're just going around this footpath on the perimeter telling the story of this. And it's one of these spontaneous finds, often just from going down a random path in Scotland. There's always something to be seen. Tells a little story of Scottish history over the years. And I'm sure here there is a grand gate of some sort. Yeah, look, there's cannons and stuff down here. Check this out. Wow, look at this, folks. We'll go down and have a look. Let's check this out. This is the old gate into the original like 1500s castle, folks. I need to get this on video. Look, there's been towers and stuff that's all been destroyed, most likely in an ancient battle. And then old entranceways, maybe into different parts. Look at the defensive halls. Obviously, because this is private property, I come with like the greatest respect to like the house owner. Look at this, I'm just wanting to take a look at these cannons. Wow, look at that. Original cannons, folks, and often that's from the real historical events that went on in places like this. It looks like a French motto that's above the castle gate, and there's these towers with the defensive holes in them still, built for genuine defence. And these were often the front line of like big battles and big wars. It was the scene of terror. And the shape of this is all designed for defensive purposes, so you couldn't climb up. It was far easier for them to defend down. But as you can see, the tops of this place has just been blasted off and destroyed. And yeah, it's just magical. The whole side of that tower there is gone. But that's obviously just been a small part of what was this ancient castle surround, and there would have been a lot more involved at that time building the castle, and like castle buildings I should say. Yeah, so there we go, folks, a real Scottish castle entrance with cannons. It's mad to see that. It almost gives you a bit of a vibe as to the old castle that we would have seen if it hadn't been destroyed earlier in the video. And the stonework on this one's so grand. The architecture back then, again, it was just incredible. The level of detail they had to go to, so their structure was defensive and sound. Anyway, let's head on with this adventure out this old track, which must have been an entranceway since way back. I'm saying 1500s, folks, but that's just from like the architecture of the building. But I'm not obviously sure of every detail because of it being a spontaneous adventure here. Look at this, folks, at the roadside here of this castle that we just looked at there. Look, it's like these pineapples or whatever, the shape. Look at the carving. It's an incredible piece of masonry work.
An old gate.
Yeah, look at the green moss growing over the wall. Yeah, there is remains of that there, with the gate. But look, there's another piece been on here at some point. Often the layers of history. Maybe it's had multiple gates. And think what armies may have entered here marching down to the front gate of this castle at a certain time, folks. Imagine what they were wearing and stuff back then, and the sound of the horses' hoofs. Maybe coming up off a boat down at the harbour there at Ferryden or Montrose, marching up here. Maybe coming in from the land even. You wouldn't even know. Like, it's incredible just to think of that history. The castle stood here in the land, and such a grand entrance and so heavily defended. Once you got through that outer perimeter wall, which was made up of towers and other defensive structures, then the actual castle structure was in the middle. A completely separate structure that also they would have had to breach But the crazy thing with that one, it looks like it has been destroyed, like in a war. The way that half the towers and stuff just been blown apart, and that's why it's a different modern building built inside the footprint of the old castle. Yeah, that is special. We get all sorts of places on this channel, folks. It is mad just to keep heading out into these lands, seeing it. And now look, we can see over the lands of Montrose and Ferry Den. We've come around to the windy side of this hill, and I think that's one of the paths that takes you down around the side of that big house. Oh, I can see the train coming over the old viaduct. It's all going on here, folks. The tide's half in. You can often gauge the tide by how high the water is in the Montrose Basin. Apparently the Montrose Basin, which is this loch looking thing here, was created from an ancient tsunami that struck Iron Age Britain roughly 2,500 years ago. A massive tsunami struck the land here, wiping out all coastal civilization and sending them to the hills, folks. So I was just thinking, folks, it's quite interesting, but those big cannons that we saw at the entrance to that castle, they may have at one time been used to actually breach that castle and to blow it apart. Some of the damage may have been caused from those cannons as they approached, or that may have been big cannons that was used to defend the castle originally. But whatever it is, it's cool to theorise the history on the channel. That's us just about back to the car, so I'm going to end this video here. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander87. Check out his channel for some aerial footage of Scotland and some other angles of the places we explore. But I'm ending it here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon with the next adventure, wherever we end up going.